Hey, what's up guys? Back again with another video in the Java series. This time I'm going to show you how to use the date object. Alright guys, so I'm skipping ahead a little bit. We're going to be moving on to like dealing with time and stuff like that. So the first thing you want to deal with is the date object, okay? So the date object is really cool for, of course, storing the date. It's very simple. So yeah, that's all I got. So let's just go ahead and show you. So we can make a new date object by doing date. And then it's import date, of course, from the Java utilities. And then we need a name for it. So we'll just say right now. So we're going to get the date of whatever time it is right now and everything like that. So date right now is equal to new date. So we're declaring a new date object, okay? Now let's check out what parameters we need. We don't actually need any, of course. As you can see here, there's no errors, but we can actually provide some if we want to. So as you can see here, we get a lot of parameters here, but they're all crossed out, meaning that they're deprecated, okay? So that means that they're not really supposed to be used in the current version of Java, so don't really use them, okay? And I'm not going to go over them because I'm not supposed to, right? So we're going to stay up to date. So really the only, parameter that you want to use when declaring a new date object is going to be long date, and what you want to store here is going to be the number of milliseconds after the date of January 1st 1970, okay? And that's called the Unix epoch. So basically it was a date that was selected that we can use here for referencing time within this programming language, okay? So basically the only way to reference time within the date objects currently is with the milliseconds, the number of milliseconds after the date of January 1st 1970. And of course, how the hell do you know what date you want to put here, of course, because let's say, well, I'll show you in a second first. Let's just go ahead and print out whatever this is right now. So we'll print it out right now. So basically, I forgot to say that whenever you don't provide any parameters, like, the number of milliseconds after January 1st, 1970, then it's just going to get the date from, like, the current time of literally right now. That's going to be the current date, okay? So let's go ahead and run this, and it's going to print out the current date. So as you can see here, it says Saturday, March 2nd, and then we have the hours here. And then we have the CST, that's my time zone, and so it's going to take your local time zone, it's going to know that for you. So central time zone, because I live in Houston, Texas, and then of course 2019, right? So that's the current date of where I am right now, of course, so it was able to find that. But of course, if you want to specify our own date, if you want to do something like a custom date, then of course you want to specify the number of milliseconds after 1970. So for example, if we put 0 and put an L after it, of course, because it's asking for a long as the parameter, so do Control P, it's asking for a long, right? So do 0 L, so it knows that it's a long. So now we press run, and let's see what happens. And we get Wednesday, December 31, CST 1969, right? Because of course that's going to be the date of pretty much exactly January 1st, 1970. It's basically on New Year's Eve, right? So yeah, that's how that works. It's not going to be exact, of course, because I think it's local to my time, the central time zone. So it's probably going to be the UTC is the one that you want to use, basically, if it's going to be January 1970 directly. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, that's how that works. Of course, we need to specify, the number of milliseconds. And like I said, how the hell are you supposed to know how many milliseconds it has been for a specific date? Well, there's this really cool website I found that you can use to, you basically can use it to figure out what date you want to set to use and stuff like that. So it tells you the current date right now, the current Unix time, which is going to be the number of milliseconds after January 1st, 1970. So you can find that if you want to. So that's how it works. But if you want to provide the number of milliseconds to play around with it, you could do that too. So 45000, and that's going to give you the date. That's not a lot in terms of milliseconds, so you want to keep adding some more. And then finally, you'll eventually reach a higher number of, for the year at least. So you can bring it down. As you can see here, the date is getting smaller and smaller. Because of course, the number is rising exponentially, right? Because they're milliseconds, they go very fast. So anyway, just play around with this and you can get some cool dates. It's hard to play with, but basically if you know the date already, all you have to do is go to the right side over here and then enter the day that you want to convert to milliseconds, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We can choose 2001, what's the month, 6, the day is 16, so that's going to be my birthday. And then for the hour, you can also specify the hour, minutes, and seconds. I'm just going to leave that blank, but if you want to do that, you can do that. So yeah, 2001, 16, and then now it gives us that in terms of the milliseconds, so we can go ahead and copy this number, and then we'll put it over here, and then of course that converts directly to that time. But anyway, we'll go back here into our program, and now inside of here, we're asked for the number of milliseconds since 1970. You could put that right there, and of course don't forget to put an L on the end of it so it knows that it's a long, a capital L, by the way. So boom, there we go. And now we can run this, and it should say what's it called? June 16th. Yeah, June 16th, 2001. So that works perfectly. So hopefully that makes sense. Of course, it's very simple, and you just have to provide the number of milliseconds, after that date, right? So if you might be wondering why the hell we have to provide milliseconds instead of like a specific date, type it out or whatever. Like I said, it's deprecated. You don't want to use, like, for example, if we go, let's get rid of this. Let me show you. So it's deprecated. So as you can see here, we used to be able to provide the year, the month, and the stuff like that. But now we can't do that since it's deprecated. So yeah, next episode I'll show you how to use calendar, which is very similar to the date object, but instead you can provide the, the actual stuff instead of milliseconds, right? So just stay tuned for that, but this is how you use date. So before we end this episode, I'm going to show you the different methods that you can use within the date object, at least the ones that you can use currently, not the deprecated ones, because we want to stay current, right? So the first one's very simple. Of course, we're already using it technically. We can do right now, and that's going to print out the actual date, of course. But there's another one called right now .to or get time, so that's going to print out the time. And instead of printing out the time like it did here, whenever you print it to a string, it's going to print out the time in milliseconds. So now we can see the current milliseconds of right now, of course. So let's look at the other methods that we can use. So we can get after. So this is useful for comparing two dates. So let's make another date here. So date birthday is equal to new date. And let's go ahead and print out or put that number in there, which is going to be my birthday. So now what we can do here is compare this date to this date. So we can do right now dot after. So it's going to say, and then we'll provide birthday inside of here. So it's asking for a date. So Control P. Oops. Control P is asking for the date. So what it's going to do here basically is say, is right now after my birthday? If it is, then it's going to say true. But if it's not after my birthday, then it's going to say false. Okay. So let's try printing that out. See what we get. It's just going to compare the two dates basically, right? So it's going to get true, meaning that, of course, right now is more current, or it's after my birthday in terms of time, right? So that's how that works. But of course, instead of after, we could have before. So we could see if my birthday is before, or if right now is before or after my birthday. And it should print out false because my birthday did come before the right now, right? So yeah, we get false, of course, because my birthday is kind of old now. So anyway, that's how you do that. But now we can also do, instead of, specifying the date right here inside of the constructor, let's say we want to change our mind and change it to something new, we could do that by doing birthday dot set time. So now we can set the time without having to use the constructor. So we could do, something like that, whatever. So now we can go ahead and print out the value of birthday like that, and we should get a specific date here, and we get 1973. So that's how that works. Okay, so the last big method that you want to use is called the compare to method. So you can compare two dates to each other. So we're going to go ahead and compare right now to compare to birthday. So we're going to compare the time of right now, literally right now, to my birthday. So let's see what happens. Oh, oopsies, I put it in the wrong place. I want to put it inside of the output statement here, not there. I got confused. So just get rid of that. And so now it's going to print out the value of this operation, comparing the two dates. So we'll let that run, and now we get 1, right? So whenever you're using the compare to method, you're comparing two dates. If it returns a 0, that means that the two dates are equal in time. If it returns a negative value, then that means the invoking object, or this one right here, the one invoking the method, is going to be earlier than the one that you're comparing it to, okay? So this one's going to be earlier than this one if it's negative, but if it's positive, like it is right here, it's a 1, that means that the invoking object is later than date. So that means that right now is later than date, meaning it's like later in terms of time, so meaning it happened more recently, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm hopefully not going too fast for you guys, but anyway, that's how it works. So just to test it out, we're going to make these both dates the same thing, basically, so right now. So now we'll compare these two, so we'll do birthday and right now. So we should get a 0, hopefully. And yeah, of course we get 0 because right now and birthday are both set to the current time, of course, because we didn't provide a constructor, right? So anyway, I know I went kind of fast, but that's very simple. It's how you use the date object. You just specified the number of milliseconds after 1970, January 1st, 1970. So yeah, very simple. But yeah, if you have any questions about what I did, you can ask in the comment section below. I'll be glad to help you. Also, we have a Discord link in the description below if you want to check out our Discord, hang out with us, anything you want to do, and stuff like that. Also, we have all the code from today's episode in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Also, in case you forget stuff, you can go back and look at it in the future and stuff, right? So if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and peace.